Hey, this is Dr. Mike. I wanted to go over what we're going to be talking about in the Total Hormonal Harmony course. A lot of you guys have been asking questions about that. So, let me kind of start from the beginning of why I even put this course together. So, a lot of you guys, if you guys know me by now, I really stress the importance of gut health. And I came out with a previous course called the Total Gut Restore Program. That's actually part one. That's the foundational thing that I start off every single patient with, what we focus on. Now, part two of that is where we start diving into hormones. And now, a lot of times people think, well, when you say hormones, they often think women, estrogen, they think just mainly on the sex hormones. But we have over like 200 different hormones that affect every single metabolic process in our bodies. And anytime those go out of balance, the cells don't communicate properly. And you see all types of issues that pops up along the way. So part two of the series that continues on from the total gut, and the gut by in and of itself has a lot of hormonal interactions as well. Part two is this course, total hormonal harmony. And basically what I've tried to do is really distill down some very complex things and put it into a usable fashion that you can both understand and apply. Okay. So I've broken it down into five modules. So modules one, two, three, four, and five. And module one is where we focus on just the getting started, getting you prepared for what you're going to learn and what you're going to start to apply. So I'm going to teach you how to use the course. I teach you the overview of what you guys should be preparing for, give you guys an overview of the course in and of itself, an approximation of how long you'd want to focus on each of the different parts of the program. So there's a three-step process that I go through called the clearing phase, rebuilding, and the nourishing phase. And we set some goals of what I want you to get out of this program. And then I also help you to prepare, giving you different lists. Lists always makes things helpful. We go over the different labs. I give you an assessment questionnaire and then a sample menu of what you can be. You can get some ideas of some of the food combinations that we would be using. And then for those of you who want to dive deeper into the physiology, I talk about the physiology behind the hormones, and that's all in module one. That's more of the foundational thing. And then in module two, we start getting into the clearing phase. Now, the clearing phase uh, contains a lot. I talk a lot about detoxification. Okay, so I mean, detoxification could be a course in and of itself. So I talk about that here in the clearing phase. And then a lot of people want to know, well, how do I manage my stress? Because stress affects how the hormones react. That's going to be a whole section within module two. I dive deeper into circadian rhythm balance. There's some updates on what I've talked about in the total gut program onto how to balance your circadian rhythms. There's going to be a little bit more information um, and and techniques that we're going to be teaching you guys in the circadian rhythm balance section. And then I'm going to dive deeper into the neurology, different the subluxation patterns, acupuncture, acupressure points and meridians and all that within module two. So that's the clearing phase. So the clearing phase is typically going to run you about 7, sometimes 12 days. That's on average for most people. And then on module three, this is where a lot of people actually begin their hormonal balancing journey. Is they start to look at the hormones in and of itself, but the way that they do it, they don't really look at the connections between it all. So what I teach all of my patients and the students of our courses is to look at the axes. So one we look at is the neurotransmitter axis, and then the HPA, hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, the HPT, which is the thyroid axis, and the HPG, which is the gonadal. So these three are the main axes, and then combined with the neurotransmitters. And then we start diving into the mitochondria. This is one of the things that is really overlooked by a lot of different programs that I've seen out there. They totally neglect the mitochondria, and this is where like, your steroid hormone conversion process even takes place. So if your mitochondria aren't even working properly, you can be doing all the different creams, lotions, potions, and shakes and foods and supplements, but if the mitochondria aren't working properly, it's not going to work effectively. Then I'm going to teach you guys how to do a proper exercise regimen according to where your body's at. Um, we're going to be looking at sleep because sleep's a very important thing. And then some healing sounds. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Now, module 4 is when we get into the nourishing part. This is where we start to give your body all the nutrients that it needs to balance out. I'm going to teach you guys how to nourish the body properly, the essential nutrients that your body needs for proper hormonal production. What are some of the precursors for hormones? All the meridians and neurology that plays an important part. So if you're working with a healthcare practitioner, whether it's an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, they're not, they don't know a lot of this stuff. You can bring this stuff to them and help them to help you. Okay. And then we get into the topics of bioidentical hormone replacement therapy or synthetic hormone replacement therapy and how to implement some of those strategies into your health regimen. And then module 5 is a summary, wrapping up the protocol, making sure that you understand what's going on within the protocol, going over some of the common obstacles, how you can get over those obstacles, frequently asked questions. There's a lot of questions that you guys have been asking me about this. And so we'll be answering that in there. And also, as people go through the course, questions may pop up, and I'll put that in there. Or you can ask questions directly within each of the sections, and I can comment on those questions right there within the course. And then I show you some of the next steps on where you can go. Okay. Now, some of the bonuses is, these can be courses in and of itself. So I have the slim down protocol, which a lot of people are interested in just a quick way of handling weight. If you have more pressing weight issues, longer standing weight issues, then the 4 pillars of weight loss course would be a more in-depth program that you'd want to take a look at. Then I have the healing your thyroid protocol. So people who have stuff like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, any type of hypo or hyperthyroid issues, that would be very pertinent. That I list out my protocol that I use there. There's my endometriosis protocol, and then a big one for a lot of women and men too. By the way, let's not skip over the guys because even pregnancies affect guys as well. You may not be carrying the babies, but the stress and the imbalance in your circadian rhythms that happens pre and post pregnancy affects both mom and dad. So we talk about just the general stuff like, how to deal with morning sickness, prenatal care. What do I do before having a baby so that you can have a healthy baby? What to focus on during the pregnancy, and then getting your hormones back into balance after pregnancy while you're breastfeeding, that whole 9 yards. We're going to talk about that in the healthy pregnancy bonus section. And then this is the PCOS part and how to do, stuff like the ketogenic diet or modified ketogenic diets while you're going through stuff like PCOS or any type of other hormonal imbalances. And then a big one is the calm protocol, anxiety. What do we do to help the body to get rid of that excess fight or flight? I know that's a big one for a lot of people. And then when we do the Q&A sessions that I'll have, sometimes we'll do like a live Q&A sessions for you guys. Those will be recorded in an archive there. So like I said, the Total Hormonal Harmony course is a pretty comprehensive course that'll give you a really in-depth explanation about what's going on with your hormones, why and what you need to be doing to get those things back into balance. Highly educational course that I recommend for everybody, not just women, by the way, because men go through the same hormonal shifts as well. And oftentimes men really neglect this. So, wives, if you're listening to this, get the husbands on the program as well, because their hormones shift dramatically as they age, especially if they're going through andropause and all that kind of stuff. Male pattern baldness is a real big one. Digestive issues, joint pains and aches, all that kind of stuff is all linked towards hormonal imbalances. So, I've been doing a lot of work on this course, and I think you guys are going to really love what we have to offer here. So, if you're watching this online, whatever, there should be a link somewhere. If it's on an Instagram live story, there should be a link somewhere above or below. Just look for that link. That link will take you to the registration page, and then you can get registered, and then you'll be able to have access. If you're watching this before the launch of the course, then the course is going to come out when we have everything ready. But if you're watching this after we've launched the course, just go ahead, get registered, and you'll be able to start the course right away. All right. Hope this helps. It's Dr. Mike saying be well and aloha.